So I was a bit bored the other day and I decided to open up HBO, or Max I guess they call it now, and look through my watch list. Fortunately, I ended up watching The Watchers and Caddo Lake. I didn't expect to do a double feature, but I was enjoying myself. I wasn't even planning on reviewing these movies in video form, as I've written a little letterbox review for them, but I figured why not, just make a quick little video and expand on it a little bit. I'll do it spoiler free, but if I do happen to talk about any spoilers, I'll put timestamps below so you could skip it. I thought they were decent. I liked The Watchers, but there was definitely something off or missing in it. I kind of appreciate that it was pretty straightforward, but there was something lacking there. Maybe it was the characters themselves that were not that interesting, or seemed to lack any depth there. Like, I felt like there was more to the story perhaps, but there just wasn't. I don't know how to describe it. And Caddolake was definitely the best of the two, without a doubt. I really liked that one. I feel like not a lot of people are talking about these movies. So the first one I'll talk about is The Watchers. So The Watchers is a 2024 film directed by Ishana Shyamalan and also written by her and A.M. Shine. It stars Dakota Fanning, and she plays a young woman who works at a pet store and was tasked to deliver a parrot to a client. She gets stranded in the woods, and from there, the mystery begins. As she tries to find her way out, she starts hearing and seeing odd things. She meets up with 3 other people who are also trapped there. There's a huge room with a one-way mirror, and they stay in at night because they are out there. Creatures are out in the woods. They like to watch and observe these people in this enclosed space, and there are rules to follow in order to survive. So with all that, I liked the premise. I was interested to see what were these creatures. Were there any creatures at all? You know, the type of questions that Dakota Fanning's character, Mina, would probably be asking as well. The thing is though, the mystery at some point is no longer a mystery, and you still have like an hour left in the movie. There's nothing ambiguous after a while. Now maybe if they switched around some things in this movie to make the reveal a little more of a gut punch perhaps, it'd be more effective. Like the other characters besides the old woman were so passive. I wish they also had some plausible theories regarding what they thought was going on so that there was always some doubt there to like keep the audience thinking, you know? The old lady was just the one in charge, which I get, but the dynamics between the characters just felt really boring. I do think the movie looked great though, and the filming locations were beautiful. The dialogue was a bit odd at times, and while watching this, the music was really getting to me. Like, I knew it sounded familiar to a composer I really liked. One of the songs near the end really got me, and I was like, this has to be the same guy that did Penny Dreadful or Nocturnal Animals, and lo and behold, it was him. Sometimes, I don't care how the movie is, I'm a sucker when it comes to a good composer. With the right music, it can really create a great atmosphere. A lot of the times, the music could really draw you in, no matter what you're watching. But anyway, I'm getting distracted. I don't understand why we had Mina being a twin. I don't see how that played a role at all with everything that happened in the movie and the ending. This could be interpreted into something deeper regarding Mina not wanting to be herself and all that, but it really wasn't explored or talked about that much. Perhaps they go more into it in the books. I mean, all of their backstories honestly did not seem important to the story. Yes, it was a way to get to know them a little bit more, but I don't know, I just wasn't that interested. Once we know what is going on in the woods, for me, it was just a matter of how or if they will escape, and then what was the purpose of it all. And so with that, I just want to touch on some spoilers for this movie. Skip to here if you'd like to avoid them. So as I alluded to before, it says mystery as a descriptor for this movie, but that mystery does not last long. As we get Madeline, the older woman, giving some answers to what is going on and why. Mystery over. So now, I guess the issue is then, if the fairies succeed, they will kill these people, but how will they escape the forest? Did they make this forest into a maze to trap humans? Or does this forest just have magical properties? The ones who trapped them years ago, did they create the forest to be this way? Like, I don't know. Maybe someone in the comments can enlighten me? Now knowing how this movie ended, I was wondering if there was any significance to Mina's pet shop owner / co-worker never being seen. Whenever we do see him frontally, his face appears blurry and therefore distorted. Did anyone else catch that? Apparently no fairy has escaped until this time, right? But looking back, I thought it was not a mistake that we never see his face in a normal way. Maybe I'm just reading more into it than necessary, but I don't know. That's how I felt. Anyway, although I do think there are many criticisms for this movie, and it could be a bit dull at times, I think I would still recommend this one. I would like to see more people discussing it because it does have an interesting concept and the music is great. It's all nice and mystical, but it could have been executed better. A bit lackluster, unfortunately. And now on to Caddo Lake. Caddo Lake, another film from 2024, was written and directed by Logangeorge and Celineheld. It stars Dylan O'Brien and Eliza Scanlen. Now I got a bit confused here because I knew this girl looked familiar and I was so convinced that it was the wife from Trap, but I looked into it and I was like, oh yeah, she was in Old and Sharp Objects. Really, they do look alike to me. It's crazy. Anyway, this movie was so good. It's a slow burn movie. I saw a criticism that it was boring and it spent too much time building up to everything, but I just disagree with that. We get some background information of these two characters for a bit, but not too much in my opinion. I think we get just enough information about them and their history to get to know them a little bit more and some of the personal or mental issues they may be having. I don't think anything like that was over-explained, and it was all very relevant to the story. This movie is a puzzle. Some may figure it out sooner than others, but overall, it takes some work. I really enjoyed connecting the pieces together, just like the characters are doing throughout the movie. This takes place around Caddo Lake, a large swamp and lake area that connects East Texas and Louisiana. The two main characters, Paris and Ellie, notice some strange happenings in the lake, and then all of a sudden an 8-year-old girl goes missing. I went into this movie completely blind. I knew nothing about it, and I'd suggest you do the same if interested. The acting was great in it, besides the 8-year-old girl, Anna. Her acting was a little distracting. It was not good, but you just gotta look past it. Dylan O'Brien did a great job in this. I can't recall seeing him in anything, but he was really good in this movie. He definitely stole the show. I loved watching this and trying to come up with my own theories as to what was happening. There was something dark about the atmosphere here, and there was a sadness with every character. This story focuses on broken families, so it seems appropriate. And the swamp just adds to the haunting, isolated feeling. And as I was watching this movie, it kept reminding me of a certain TV show from a few years ago. I'm gonna put a spoiler tag here. Skip to this time if you'd like to avoid it. Now, me just mentioning this show may spoil the movie, and even the TV show if you haven't seen it, but I won't be going into detail about that anyway, so it's probably safe. I'm sure I'm not the only one, but I got very strong dark vibes from all of this. This was before we found out explicitly what is going on, and it was so fun to see that I was right. The whole thing really was like dark, except in America and restricted to one family. It was really cool to pick up some subtle things regarding Ellie's family tree, and once I started picking up on it, my mind immediately went to the TV show Dark. But that's all I'm gonna say about that. I'm not gonna go into the details of the ending. It is pretty straightforward once you get it, and I think it's pretty cool. And I'm sure with any theme like that or situation, there's going to be some logistical problems of who's who and the timelines and all that, but I couldn't think of any issues right off the bat. It could be one of those situations where the more you think about it, some questions may come up, but yeah, I enjoyed it. And because it is focused on one family, there's a little less mess there, in my opinion. So yeah, I enjoyed slowly uncovering the mystery behind these families. But we don't seem to get an understanding as to why Caddo Lake is the way it is or why it stopped or started. That could have been something I missed, but it really didn't take anything away from it for me. I think if you like a slow burn mystery movie, I definitely recommend this one. It didn't feel too long for me. I felt it sprinkled in enough information here and there for the audience to piece together, but even if you didn't get it, they do make it explicit in the end. It's a tragic story, it definitely takes you for a ride, and I really liked it. So that's my quick review of Caddo Lake and The Watchers. The one thing that connects these two movies is the production of it. Other than that, they aren't really related in any way that I know of. I just happened to watch them in the same night. So I'm not trying to compare these and pit them against each other, but there are payoffs in Caddo Lake, while in The Watchers, I did not feel that there was much to pay attention to that would lead to anything. Any payoffs in The Watchers were very minimal. But like I said, the story was an interesting concept, I'll give it that. I'm sure it could even be expanded on seeing as it's a book, which I wasn't aware of until I looked it up after the fact. I hope you enjoyed my reviews. Go see these if you haven't, and if you did see them, what did you think about them? Not sure what's next for me right now, but I have some things in mind, but not sure when that will happen. So I'm currently in the process of moving, and I'm sure a lot of people understand how that goes. It's not fun, but I'm hoping to get a little more on track after that happens. Hope you like and subscribe, and I will see you for the next one.